What's up guys, this is Darkbblue, a gamer who loves Souls-like games, lunar games, and every game that involves build making. In this character guide video of Granblue Fantasy Relink, we'll be covering Cagliostro. Many tests have been made to reveal her true potential, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's dive right into it. What's the core of Cagliostro? I believe it's to make the right decision on which attack move to use given the situation. She has many to choose from, combos, charge, and skills. These moves are not hard to perform, so the major task is to understand their combat performance and make decisions accordingly. Let me briefly introduce all of her moves as our basic setting. After performing different numbers of light attacks before heavy attack, you can conduct 4 combos, we call them C1 to C4. You can also charge your heavy, but it's slow, so we only use it after a full combo or some skills to do fast charge. She has a buff skill, Phantasmagoria, that gives her attack, defense, and crit chance bonus. Her 2 sigils let her inflict defense down with charge attacks and enable her combo finishers to reduce skill cooldown. The community's understanding of Cagliostro has been through 4 important changes. First, some of her moves have insanely high damage cap compared with other moves, so her DPS potential has been underestimated. Second, some of her moves deal much higher DPS to big targets compared to the dummy. Then, her moves can be cancelled, introducing even more possibility to moveset performance. And finally, since Pain Train is now considered her major damage source, skill cooldown is also very important. To have a clear view of the 4 factors, I have done some tests. Following are my conclusions. About the damage cap problem, Pain Train is the hardest to meet the cap. After that, it's C3 or its heavy finisher. I have found 2 builds to hit the cap for my Cagliostro. I can have 3 offensive sigils, aka stamina, life on the line, and skill assault. In this way, I don't need defense down to hit the cap. The other choice is to have only 2 offensive sigils discarding life on the line. With both Phantasmagoria and defense down, I can get close to the gap. I'd recommend the first choice because I only get close to the cap with the second one. There's still a gap of 20,000 damage. Then the second topic against big targets. I tested on the Dragon Nation of very hard difficulty. To be short, only C1 and C2 shows an obvious increase, but only C1 becomes considerable. So C1's damage increases because it can hit the same target many times, depending on your attack direction. When carefully conducted, C1 does deal more DPS than C3 against big targets. Then the third topic, move cancel. When cancelling Cagliostro's most move, the attack will still be finished. So her move cancel is generally better than other characters. But not all moves deserve cancelling. I have drawn 2 conclusions from testing. Every combo finisher should be cancelled unless you decide to do a fast charge after it. And C3 is especially good for cancelling. I'll show you how to do it later in this video. Finally, skill cooldown reduction. Every combo finisher can reduce ongoing cooldown. I tested by repeating the same combo after using Phantasmagoria until it's ready again. So C3 has the best effect, 100% coverage. C1 can almost achieve 100% coverage, but C2 cannot. Of course, we know C1 is better against big targets, but it's still not as efficient as C3. After the test results, it's time for a conclusion on move performance. Pain Train is the central DPS move. As a result, skill cooldown is also very important to Cagliostro. Among the 4 combos, C1 is good against big targets for both damage and cooldown reduction. C2 is good for stun. C3 is for small targets, both damage and cooldown reduction of C3 are considerable. And C4 is useless. As for charge attack, I recommend using it only to inflict skill defense down. Don't use it again as long as the debuff is still there. Based on the conclusion, this is my decision on which move to use. Buff and debuff before Patron, before combos. You need to make buff and debuff achieve 100% coverage. Use Phantasmagoria when it's ready again, and as for defense down, use charge attack when the icon indicates it's about to end. If you mean to use a charge attack, try to make use of fast charge after the combo finishes. When buff and debuff are ensured, it's time for Patron. This skill can easily miss some hits, so here are 2 tips. You need to aim at the right direction. Toggle lock-on to make sure you aim at the legs, not heads or arms that are away from the ground. And use the skill in very close range. I know it's a launch skill, but now we want more damage, so use it when you are close enough to your target. Only when Patron is in cooldown should we do combos. C2 is only for stun. You may only use it, several times in one combat. C1 and C3 are the choices in most time. C1 for big targets and C3 for small ones. I have tested them both on Automagod and turned out that C1 was much better. So C1 and C3 require your attention to details. Here are what you need to know. To use C1 better, the key is direction. You need to make the line of spears cross longer parts of your target. For example, if you are now at one hind leg of a dragon, it's better to aim at its front leg so that you hit the diagonal. If you aim at the other hind leg, the damage will be lower. You are already locking on legs to max out Patron damage, now you need to position yourself carefully to max out C1. As for C3, the key is cancelling. The first 2 light attacks don't need cancelling. Cancel the 3rd light attack and the 1st heavy attack. Now, if you try to cancel the finisher as well, you will enter a stagger state unless you have improved dodge sigil. But I have found a way to cancel it without this sigil. Start charging after the finisher, but cancel the charge when you see the animation start. C3 has a hidden advantage. Sometimes it can cause a severe lag effect. Normally it applies to both sides, but if you cancel it, the lag effect only applies to the enemy. So it can work as some kind of slow effect for control. Currently, I haven't found a way to trigger it frequently, but I can feel its potential. All in all, the entire decision strategy is in this figure. That's regular situations we've been talking about. In link time, you only need to spam Patron. In the end, I have some advice on the build. There are 3 things I want to mention about sigils. First, to hit the damage cap, I recommend 3 offensive sigils. With this, you only need Phantasmagoria, but don't need defense down. Not using charge attack in combat will make the rotation simpler. Second, Phantasmagoria has 30% crit chance bonus, and we already know it can reach 100% coverage. So, it is possible to have no crit chance sigils and no crit chance in weapon enchantment. Finally, stack skill cooldown as much as possible. If you like my story or want to join me into depth of games, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.